that night of February 26th if George Zimmerman didn't have a gun. The evidence is out now. We know the police got there very shortly after, a matter of minutes after the gunshot. If there was not a gun there, whether it was an altercation or not, that police would have came, pulled them off of one another. George Zimmerman wouldn't be charged with murder, and more importantly, Trayvon Martin would be living today. He would have got to go to his high school prom. He would be getting ready for summer vacation. He would be getting ready to live the rest of his life and pursue his dreams. But because that gun was involved, that changed the whole equation, the whole dynamic. And so we have to do something to stop this senseless gun violence.
Before we open up to the press, I want to just briefly, before I ask Sabrina, because he was on the way to home to visit his father. Explain when he was killed around 6 o'clock?
Around 7:17.
Around 7:17, and you found out, and you began to put out a search warrant for him. Explain when you found out how you identified him.
Identify him through the crime scene photo the next day. In Daytona Beach, Florida, the Lucia County Medical Examiner has a policy whereas you can't, there's no visitation of the bodies. So the only way that I was able to visit Trayvon the only way I was able to identify his body was through the crime scene photo. As any of you all know, as parents and family members of slain victims, to look at a crime scene photo is very disturbing. It actually took from that Sunday. We actually didn't see Trayvon until the viewing of his body the day before his funeral, or the day of his funeral. So that was certainly very disturbing, and it's just to see that picture of my son on the ground dead. That's a picture that will be vivid in my memories for the rest of my life.
A piece of this is that they did a drug test on the body of Trayvon, 17-year-old kid who had just been 17 for 2 weeks, and did not do a drug test on the killer. And as the killer walked free, Trayvon went to the graveyard. It took a global protest to expose this barbarity. And even now, the killer is free. And to show how arbitrary this law is, a woman defending herself from a violent husband shot in the ceiling of the house to deter him. And for that, she cannot use standing ground law. She is in jail now for 20 years. And therefore, Sabrina has pushed real hard, focus not only on her son, but on the stand your ground law to get this permissiveness to increase this kind of violence. No one is quite born the burden to think like the mother has, in the pain and the vacuum. And she has carried herself with such dignity and strength, they're all riding on her shoulders. Sabrina, share with us where you are now, and then we will open Q&A.
We have established a foundation. It's the Trayvon Martin Foundation. We have a website. It's justicetm.org. And through that foundation, we are speaking to different groups, mainly youth, so we can try to address some of the profiling issues so that they are aware of some of the things that they are facing as youth and as they become adults. The other thing that we are focusing on through the foundation is a mentoring program, so that they'll have a place to go after school, so that they'll have some person that they can go to that is a positive influence in their lives. The other thing is we're working with Congress so that we can try to locally first and through the state and then through Congress to amend the stand your ground laws so that they at least review what has already been approved to see if they need to make any changes, so none of our children have to be killed under these type of circumstances again. And that's what the foundation is for. That's why we are speaking out. We are the voice for Trayvon Martin. He's not here to speak for himself. So we, as his parents, have decided, instead of sitting back and not doing anything, this is what we have decided to do to help our community and to help other parents in the United States and outside the United States, in the country, to help. This is what we have decided to do to help other people. Thank you.
For Q&A.
Rev Jackson, is your intention in your drive for justice to remove the people currently in decision-making positions or to change the hearts of the people currently in decision-making positions in the criminal justice system?
Combination. We want to repeal the stand your ground laws.
Good.
We'll revive a ban on assault weapons. We'll cut the gun flow. In Chicago, it's illegal to sell guns in the city. There are 3 gun shops in the last 10 years. Sold 7,000 guns and murdered Chicago citizens. 1 gun shop alone has sold 3,500 of those weapons and averaged a gun a day for 10 years. So we know where the guns are manufactured, we know who they're sold, we know who is killed, and therefore we call upon the mayor and the police chief and the public justice to act to stop the killing trail. Yes, sir.
Hi, Jorge Zavala from The Prestige. Thank you very much for having this press conference today. Quick question. So in light of the Trayvon Martin situation, what would you like to advise our youth, future generations, regarding their feelings? They're angry, they're upset that something like this is still happening in America today. What would you as parents, as community leaders, advise our youth?
That's what our foundation is based upon: advocacy, conflict resolution, how to resolve certain issues without being confrontational. And I would advise parents to just educate our children at home, become more religious. You don't have a religious purpose in life, have faith in God. And we as parents shouldn't have to prep our kids, so to speak. Not to go outside and walk on the sidewalk. How to, why not where it is when you're on your own sidewalk? You shouldn't be afraid to have to go out your own house.
We are too violent, too armed, increasingly too hateful. But it's not this person. A group called ALEC, American Legislative Executive Council. These companies led by Walmart, which is the #1 seller of guns. Walmart sells hoodies out of one department and guns out the other. And the flow of guns is a factor in killing. Don't forget what Attorney Crump said. If in this struggle, if this vigilante had been unarmed, a watchman's job is to watch and see what one may suspect.
Correct.
And then call the police. He called the police and then ignored their order not to pursue. With the 9mm gun, he did pursue. He did kill Trayvon. So without the gun, at worst it would have been a scuffle. With the gun, it was a murder.
That's right.
That's why the easy flow of guns and standing ground laws and race profiling is a dangerous cocktail for death.
What are we doing to avoid elected officials taking money from the rifle associations for their campaign? For doing stop violence, we have to stop them from getting donations. I personally ran myself for office, and I know I didn't have the money. And what are we as citizens are going to do about this?
All you really can do is expose it. It's legal, but it's not good law. Our NRA is increasing its strength. It's now fighting for less background checks. If you have a law and not sell guns to Chicago, they come across the border from Indiana. It's like a passageway from Pakistan to Afghanistan. And so the gun flow continues. There must be a national commitment to stop violence. We spend $2 billion a week in Afghanistan to stop the violence, to save Afghans. We need to spend that kind of money to stop violence at home, since it's much greater. In Chicago alone, 5,300 killed here in 10 years, opposed to 1,700 in Afghanistan. This is a national crisis. There's no war we've ever fought. There's been murdered and been killed that's been killed in the streets of our cities. Yes, ma'am.
Rev Jackson, you referenced Emmett Till earlier, and now you're standing here with families of that had to do with profiling and unjust crimes nearly 60 years later. Where would you say we are or you are in the fight against injustice?
Emmett Till was racially profiled. Dr. Henry Gates, Black Crowley was profiled. And Trayvon Martin was profiled. The homes will be lost because of banks targeting and steering. The homeowners were profiled. That is healthcare profiling. That's called racism, and it must be illegal, and the law must be enforced. So there is a struggle to make us a better, healed society. That our forces are loose right now, trying to undermine the hopes and dreams. We must not allow our dreams of a safe, sane society to be hijacked. And that's a struggle of our time, daylight versus nighttime, joy versus despair. And so we see the case of Emmett Till and Dr. Gates and Trayvon. It's a wake-up call to us. There have been 40 blacks killed by police this year, 22 since Trayvon. So this continues. And that does not include the permissiveness of allowing community citizens to kill others from the community.
Rev Jackson, you spoke about the various statistics that have showed how many African Americans have been killed and murdered. It's obvious that there's a war going on in the streets. What do you feel has caused the war, and why is the black life so undervalued?
All of us have been taught to devalue black life. That is a permissiveness. There's not a black gun shop in America, not a manufacturer in the world. But nobody, black, no white, no brown, have the right to kill anybody. We must all be afforded three things: our humanity, our citizenship, equal protection under the law, without regard to who the perpetrator of the crimes are. No one has the right to see black people as a soft spot in the justice chain. So it does not matter to me so much who does the killing, except the killing must stop. There's a sense in which if this killing were on the other side of town, we'd have a different standard. Last week we rallied a great defense to make our guests secure in Chicago. For the residents to be as secure as the guests.
Amen.
It's one set of rules for protection.
Amen.
While no one got hurt in the downtown guest, 12-year-old kid was killed and 15 were injured. We simply want a difficult thing